Now that you have some basic understanding of blockchain technology, it's time to take a look at its first implementation, as cryptocurrencies. A cryptocurrency is a type of digital currency that is maintained by a decentralized blockchain. Currencies are a part of the monetary system, and money is a system of transferring value between parties, especially for the purpose of trade. But what exactly is value? Value is a shared belief. If you think about it, there's no such thing as inherent value. Sure, something like a natural resource arguably has value that's usually tied to its utility, how useful it is. But regardless, the concept of value is an entirely human creation. People want things for all sorts of reasons. Money is simply a tool to exchange value. It is accepted as payment because everyone shares the belief that it has value. In this sense, what we actually use as a unit of account for money is less relevant. Basically, any object could be used as money. In some cultures, even rocks and seashells were used as money in the past. Today, inmates may use cigarettes or coffee as money in prisons. Money has value because our society believes it has value. Of course, some objects are more suitable for this than others. For example, gold was used as money before the creation of paper money. It worked well because it's scarce and durable, but it's also heavy, and it can be difficult to transport and divide, so it became inconvenient for everyday use. Then, coins and paper money were created to represent a fixed amount of a physical commodity, like gold, in a system called the gold standard. The gold standard solved the problem of portability and divisibility for bricks of gold. Today, coins and paper notes only account for a small fraction of the monetary system. Most of the money in the world is digital money, recorded in the ledgers of banks and other financial institutions. No economy uses the gold standard anymore, although most countries do keep some gold reserves. That's where fiat money comes in. Fiat money is legal tender that isn't backed by a physical commodity, and derives its value from the trustworthiness of its issuer, usually a state through its central bank. While the value of fiat money is influenced by supply and demand, the state backing it has a much higher impact on its value. If the backing state becomes unstable, the fiat money may also lose its value. It's simply a piece of paper that has value because the state says it has value. That's what the word fiat means, by decree. So the strength of the issuing state is key when it comes to fiat money. What's more, since it isn't backed by anything tangible, the state can theoretically print as much as it wants. Printing money causes inflation. Finally, let's turn to cryptocurrencies, which work very differently compared to fiat currency. They are digital currencies in which transactions are verified and records maintained by blockchain technology using cryptography, rather than by centralized authorities. This is what sets cryptocurrencies apart from the digital currencies in PayPal and other digital banking apps that are operated by centralized organizations. A good cryptocurrency will be decentralized, meaning it has no owner, and no one person or entity has control over it. While governments can unilaterally change the underlying rules of fiat money, cryptocurrencies should theoretically maintain an even playing field and consistent sets of rules. The unique properties of cryptocurrencies also make tracking users tied to their identities considerably more difficult, though not impossible, than through digital fiat money. Individual units of a cryptocurrency can't be duplicated or forged, and as cryptocurrencies exist entirely in the digital realm, they're highly suitable for worldwide transactions. Another core property of a good cryptocurrency is that the transactions happening on the blockchain are censorship-resistant and immutable. In the next module, we will look into the first cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, in greater detail. Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency with very unique properties. It's a decentralized digital currency that you can buy, sell, and exchange directly without an intermediary, like a bank. While Bitcoin wasn't the first attempt at digital money, it's the implementation that has worked with the most success so far. Bitcoin was launched in 2009 by its pseudonymous creator using the name Satoshi Nakamoto. A year earlier, in 2008, Satoshi published the 9-page Bitcoin white paper and later released the original software as open source code. In the white paper, Satoshi described the need for an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Since then, many other cryptocurrencies have sprung up, but as of 2022, Bitcoin remains the largest cryptocurrency as measured by total value on the network. Before we get into more details of Bitcoin, you're probably wondering, what is the relationship between Bitcoin and blockchain? Blockchain is a distributed database where chunks of data are bundled together into blocks. These blocks are then chained together to create the blockchain. As a database, blockchain technology has many use cases, and Bitcoin is but one application of blockchain technology. How is Bitcoin different from fiat money then? Fiat money is centralized, controlled by a government or central bank, has an unlimited supply, and transactions are largely censorable, meaning bank accounts can be frozen or transactions can be inhibited. With most central banks around the world planning to move their fiat money system to completely digital systems, it'll undoubtedly become even more censorable in the future. However, physical cash still remains a private and anonymous way of transacting in the fiat system for now. On the other hand, Bitcoin is decentralized, peer-to-peer, and censorship-resistant. It's not backed by the government or any institution. Every Bitcoin transaction that's ever been mined exists on a public ledger, accessible to everyone. Moreover, Bitcoin has a limited supply of 21 million coins. These Bitcoins are expected to be mined by the year 2140. Cryptocurrency mining refers to the process of verifying and validating blockchain transactions. It's also the process that creates new units of cryptocurrencies. Now you can see that Bitcoin has some unique features, but how is it useful? People have been using Bitcoin, which has been nicknamed digital gold, as an alternative investment to diversify their portfolio and to make purchases and payments. Bitcoin is especially appealing for international remittance. On May 22, 2010, a Bitcoin enthusiast spent 10,000 Bitcoin to buy 2 large pizzas. Back then, 10,000 Bitcoin was worth around $40. Today, it would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. That day, when the first real-world Bitcoin transaction took place on May 22nd, is celebrated as Bitcoin Pizza Day. As of mid-2022, over 80 million unique Bitcoin wallets have been created. And there are more than 270,000 confirmed Bitcoin transactions recorded on the Bitcoin blockchain daily. The fees and transaction times of Bitcoin are negligible compared to the traditional financial system. This is especially useful for large transactions. For example, in 2019, a transaction that was then worth about $1 billion cost the sender only about $650 to send. Bitcoin also has limitations. For example, during times of increased network activity, transactions may take some time to get through. The Bitcoin network also requires expensive equipment and lots of energy to mine. Despite these limitations, Bitcoin remains one of the most disruptive implementations of blockchain technology. Besides Bitcoin, there are many other different types of cryptocurrencies out there. We'll introduce some of them in the next module. You've probably heard about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some other cryptocurrencies. We said before that cryptocurrencies are digital currencies. So, are all digital currencies cryptocurrencies? The answer is no. For example, many central banks are working on creating their own versions of digital currency, collectively referred to as central bank digital currencies or CBDCs. However, these are essentially digital versions of fiat money, and they don't enjoy most of the benefits of cryptocurrencies. They are issued and declared legal tender by a central government and typically don't use a distributed ledger, such as a blockchain, to keep a record of transactions. Since the first Bitcoin mining reward was received in 2009, the world of cryptocurrencies has grown significantly. On the broadest level, all cryptocurrencies can be broken into 2 groups, Bitcoin and altcoins. Well, yes, Bitcoin and not Bitcoin doesn't seem like much of a categorization, but this is because of how dominant Bitcoin is in crypto. The market capitalization of Bitcoin is a significant portion of the total crypto market cap, so people generally call all cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin altcoins. Altcoin is a combination of the two words alternative and coin. There are thousands of altcoins in the markets as of mid-2022, with each one aiming to serve a different purpose or market. Next, you may have noticed that the terms coin and token seem to be used interchangeably sometimes. But are coins and tokens the same thing? At first glance, coins and tokens appear similar. Both exist on blockchains, can be traded on exchanges, and sent between crypto wallets. But the biggest difference is that coins are the native asset of a blockchain, such as Bitcoin on the Bitcoin network, Ether on the Ethereum network, and BNB on the BNB chain. Whereas tokens are built on top of existing blockchains. For example, there are many tokens built based on the popular ERC20 token standard, but there is only one native coin, Ether, on the Ethereum network. Moreover, tokens can be used like cryptocurrencies, but they're more flexible. They can serve as anything from digital receipts representing a stake in a company to loyalty points. Therefore, tokens can be categorized into different types according to their function and purpose. For example, transactional tokens serve as units of account and are used to exchange goods and services. Governance tokens give token holders the right to vote on governance issues of a protocol. Utility tokens are used as a form of payment within a specific ecosystem. There are also security tokens, equity tokens, liquidity provider tokens, and new types of tokens are likely to be created in the future as the crypto industry continues to innovate. When it comes to tokens, you can also mint millions of identical ones or mint a select few with unique properties. You've probably heard about non-fungible tokens or NFTs. NFTs are cryptographic assets on a blockchain with unique identification codes and metadata that distinguish each token from another. Non-fungible means items are not interchangeable because each has unique properties. This is a key difference between NFTs and other coins and tokens that are fungible. Being fungible means the coins and tokens are identical to each other, and therefore can serve as a medium for commercial transactions. Bitcoin and Ether are fungible coins, for example. There are many more types of cryptocurrencies, but we can't cover them all in this module. A good place to start is to familiarize yourself with the biggest cryptos in terms of market capitalization first. From there, you can gradually explore the less mainstream altcoins. In the next module, let's look into centralized and decentralized crypto exchanges where you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies. There are many ways to buy cryptocurrencies. The first thing you'll need to do is convert your fiat currency into a cryptocurrency. Then you can choose to either hold it, trade it for other cryptocurrencies, or lend it and earn interest. By the way, you can learn more about it in Binance Academy's crypto trading courses, so don't forget to check that out. For this module, we will take a look at the two main types of cryptocurrency exchanges, centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. You might find the concept of a centralized exchange a bit confusing, since cryptocurrencies are often referred to as decentralized. The idea of centralized crypto exchanges refers to the use of a middleman to help conduct transactions. Buyers and sellers trust this third party to handle their assets. So the way the exchanges work is centralized and requires trust in a third party. In centralized exchanges, users deposit their fiat money or cryptocurrency to the exchange and trade within its internal systems. Users' crypto is held in custody by the exchange, but it should be fairly easy to withdraw funds and keep them in your own wallet if you want to. The centralized exchanges operate as a middleman to facilitate the completion of transactions. The best centralized crypto exchanges provide a high level of security to users. For example, because cryptocurrencies are often stored in digital wallets, users can lose their money if they forget their keys. A centralized exchange won't let this happen, as it safeguards the holdings on behalf of users. Moreover, centralized exchanges generally will ensure the safe completion of transactions. Because of this convenience and security, some users might prefer keeping their funds on centralized exchanges, particularly if they trade regularly or are new to crypto. But there are some risks to centralized exchanges. They can be hacked, or the operating entity could face financial difficulties. In both cases, user funds might be at risk. On the other hand, decentralized exchanges operate very differently. There are no custodians involved in decentralized exchanges. In fact, we can refer to decentralized exchanges as non-custodial exchanges. They cut out the middleman and operate in a trustless environment. You can also think of them as peer-to-peer exchanges, where transactions are done between users directly and entirely based on smart contracts, which are self-executing computer programs on a blockchain that run when predetermined conditions are met. Here's what happens when you trade on a decentralized exchange. Instead of depositing your funds to the exchange's wallet, you're trading directly from your own wallet. When a trade is executed, the transaction is completed directly on the blockchain using smart contracts. Since there's no entity acting as a custodian, some consider decentralized exchanges a better choice than centralized exchanges. Another upside is that most decentralized exchanges don't require you to provide any personal information other than a blockchain wallet address, offering a higher degree of privacy. But using decentralized exchanges requires taking custody of your own funds and usually a decent amount of technical expertise. You're also entirely responsible for all your funds and actions. While you can call customer service when you run into any problems when using a good centralized exchange, there is zero customer support when using decentralized exchanges. For those who are new to crypto, it's generally considered preferable to begin the crypto journey with a reputable centralized exchange. As you gain more experience and expertise, you should explore a wide range of centralized and decentralized exchanges to find the exchanges that best suit your needs. In the next module, we will get into the subject of crypto wallets and how you can use them. Whether you are a frequent trader or a buy and hold investor, you'll need a wallet to trade crypto. A crypto wallet is a tool that you can use to interact with a blockchain network. Contrary to popular belief, crypto wallets don't truly store digital assets. Instead, they provide the tools required to interact with a blockchain. In other words, these wallets can generate the necessary information to send and receive cryptocurrency via blockchain transactions. Such information includes, but is not limited to, one or more pairs of public and private keys. You may recall from our Blockchain Fundamentals course that public and private keys allow you to send and receive crypto without requiring a third party to verify the transactions. Your crypto wallet also generates an address, which is an alphanumeric identifier that is created based on the public and private keys. In essence, such an address is a specific location on the blockchain records to which tokens can be sent. This means you can share your wallet address with others to receive funds, but you should never disclose your private key to anyone. The private key gives access to your crypto, regardless of which wallet you use. Even if your computer gets compromised, you can still access your funds on another device as long as you have the private key. There are many types of crypto wallets. Depending on their working mechanisms, they can be categorized as hot or cold wallets. A hot wallet is any wallet that is connected to the internet. For example, when you create an account on a centralized crypto exchange and send funds to the wallets, you are depositing into the exchange's hot wallets. These wallets are easy to set up, generally requiring no more than downloading software and creating an account. The funds are quickly accessible, making them convenient for new users and frequent traders. Cold wallets, on the other hand, have no connection to the internet. Instead, they use a physical medium to store the keys offline, making them resistant to online hacking attempts. Cold wallets tend to be much safer for storing your coins and are particularly suitable for buy and hold investors. Another way to categorize wallets is to break them into software and hardware wallets. Most software wallets are hot wallets and can be further broken down into web wallets, desktop wallets, and mobile wallets, depending on where you access them. Hardware wallets are physical, electronic devices that use a random number generator to generate public and private keys. The keys are then stored in the device itself, which isn't connected to the internet. As such, hardware storage constitutes a type of cold wallet and is deemed as one of the most secure wallets, but they require some expertise and are less user-friendly. You should consider using a hardware wallet if you plan to hold your crypto for a long time, or if you're holding large amounts of crypto. With so many types of crypto wallets available, which one should you use? There is no definite answer. If you are a frequent trader, using a web wallet allows you to quickly access your funds and trade conveniently. However, if you like to buy and hold a large quantity of crypto, cold wallets may be better alternatives. No matter which crypto wallets you use, you should always keep the security of your crypto as your top priority. If you lose your private key, you lose access to your funds. If someone else obtains your key, they can spend those funds. Keeping your private key away from prying eyes, but in a way that you will not forget, is of paramount importance, as losing your crypto is permanent in the vast majority of cases. Well, congratulations for completing this Crypto Fundamentals course. Remember to check out Binance Academy's website and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter to stay tuned for future courses. See you in Binance Academy's next course.